Yeah, no one really knows exactly what's going on here. And now especially no one will know what's going on because it's an unexplored map gen.
The viewers are gonna love this.
Oh yeah. I don't know why some of this is revealed. Like there's squares. But
Yeah, maybe they're spawning locations
are they our
for,
spawning locations for the observers?
I don't know, maybe, but they only 3 mass spots. Raider saying flashbacks already.
Yes, Raider has interesting experiences on unexplored map gen. So yeah,
Yep.
we have Raider here in the bottom, currently up a game. He's taking Seraphim on unexplored 10x10 versus Bully, who is back on the SCTA struggle.
It'll be interesting to see how much the players will prioritize early scouts, early air, early raids, just so they can get some sort of an idea of what they're looking at on the map.
Looks like we're not seeing any first ghetto gunships though, Tex. I'm kind of disappointed.
It's probably for the best, let's be real.
For the best.
For the best.
That's what Raider and Bully are talking about in the chat. There was a double first ghetto gunship unexplored game recently.
It wasn't double.
It was attempted double. Didn't really work.
Did not. You gotta try fun things once in a while. You gotta shake the game up.
So looking at Bully's economy, it looks like he's actually doing all right. And might run out of power though. Trying to get air and a vehicle plant off only hydro. Now this is
Hydro
like a
gives
better.
him 120 though.
It is better hydro. Like you thought hydros were good. This hydro is great.
Yeah, and he's forcing out the PG or the solar collectors right afterwards, so he should be okay.
Yeah, he's actually doing some great eco balance. He's actually getting looks like fighters, scout, and more fighters.
See, I like that a lot out of Bully. I'm not a huge fan of how Raider just went like first 4 NGs without knowing anywhere of what's around him on the map. He's going to have like NGs that need to expand, and he won't even know which direction to send them in.
Yeah, you can see as the players expand, it reveals portions of the map. These squares are revealed as units approach them. And we see Bully has just scouted everything with like 3 early scouts and an instigator assault tank going off to the left side.
And look at this bomber that Raider is rushing out. He doesn't even know which way to send it.
Generally across the map.
Alright then.
Just point and shoot in the general direction of your enemy, and hopefully you'll be fine. But the scout just instantly sees this bomber, and if Bully's paying any sort of attention, he already has his fighter out, and he should be able to intercept.
There's 2 fighters out.
This Weasel's just like chilling in his base. The ACU's right here, but ACU's not interested. Yeah, there's like 2 fighters, but they're just chilling.
I don't think he's got the airlock. He might with the top one. No, he got the scout.
Got the scout, so that'll make it hard for the bomber to get good intel on its approach. But if we look, bombers do have radar. With some nice micro, good drop.
He gets 1 drop.
Just...
This is kind of inexcusable from Bully. He did get the scout. He got the intel.
Oh, and the bomb, just the instant as it drops, just hits the factory and doesn't really kill anything. But, you know, it's pretty annoying.
Good raid on the bottom left by Bully. It's picking up an NG.
But how is this allowed? This is like inside of Raider's base. There's just an instigator here that's chilling. It's like, no, this is my base now.
Well, Bully's had perfect intel with that scout that's been on patrol. It's still alive. He sees everything that's going on, which is really important in the early game. He'll know where to send his raids or where to send his NGs off of that.
And we're already seeing the ACU from Bully very aggressively moving to this 3-mex, trying to secure this 3-mex on the back of it.
Yeah, I think it's important on map gen maps to really get the ACU out a little early and to take over those mass clusters.
I think Bully really needs to scout like the top left portion of his map. Like he doesn't know what's out there. He's got no clue.
That is a good point, and if the maps are mirrored, it should be a 3-mex expansion. But I don't think he's even started expanding that way yet. You see the 2 unbuilt mass extractors by his base, so he hasn't even started going that way. And he does eventually. He gets the scout off right now, so
Yeah,
that is
now he
pretty nice.
sees that, oh, there's actually 7 mexes behind these mountains that are really important. So he'll get on that right away. This bomber from Raider flying really close to all these fighters. But yet again, somehow living.
I have to say I'm actually a huge fan of this map gen map. I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, this is actually a really good map. Looks like Raider wants to send a lot of tanks over to the position where Bully's ACU currently is. He's going to find something he doesn't like. Oh, and a very important raid, bottom right.
I actually didn't notice until now. I pulled up the reclaim figures. You can see just shy of where Bully's ACU is. There's about 2k reclaim in Rex.
Wow, that's actually
and it's
huge.
mirrored. Yeah, it's mirrored on the other side as well. Neither player would have known about this until they scouted it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see what they can do with this mass, because I don't think either player has been building up enough power that they could spend that if they start reclaiming it.
Well, Bully has a bit of power, and he's got the NGs, or the cons, on an attack move.
True, true. But yeah, total air crush from Bully. Now, because I'm unfamiliar with the mod, what would be the best air-to-ground unit for the TA faction?
I think they have a bomber. Yes, this Shadow. I think they might have like a better T2 variant, but at T1 the bomber is just good. Like the fighters, technically they shoot down, but they're not really good at it. Like they're just taking ages to kill this low HP tank.
I remember one of the last show matches, or the last times that we checked out the TA mod, that one of the TA factions had a very strong T2 fighter bomber equivalent unit, which would be really nice to see those out again.
Was it like a Anatha style?
I don't remember. I just remembered it crushed everything. Like it, I think the main strength of it was that since it was like a T2 unit, it was really good at beating up interceptors, and most games on a 10x10 wouldn't really quite get to the T3 air stage, so it had a really good role that it could occupy.
Yeah, this is actually just going to be a very annoying raid from Raider. He's just completely denying the NG that's expanding to the left side from Bully. Like, it dies here. These mexes are now in danger. Meanwhile, other side, Raider managed to defend his engineer from the raid, and he's actually going to get a safety PD before going on and taking the 3 mex expansion.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that PD. Especially because he has his units kind of streaming up to the top right to screen for it anyway.
You know, I'm not a fan of people just not building mobile AA versus TA factions. I mean,
well,
now we've got one.
How good are these fighters at raiding expanding NGs?
Pretty decent, actually. Like,
so you think that should probably be a bit of a priority then for Bully to focus on?
It would be nice. Like, I bet you could 2 or 3 pass expanding engineer with all of those combined. Bomber? Bomber just flies over enemy engineers.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's coming back around.
So have we seen, because I know the Comet Catcher game, I think one of the other games, I might have not been paying close enough attention, but have we really been seeing like T2 production out of either side yet?
We've seen some T2 land, and there was a bit of T2 air at the end of that 10x10, not Comet Catcher, on the Acid Lakes one. It seemed pretty effective until I think Bully's ACU just died to land units.
Yeah, that was a tough beat.
These fighters just seem really good, though. Not gonna lie.
The fighters are really strong, and most of that I think is coming from the fact that he's got a critical mass of fighters up early, and he's constantly taking really good fights into Raider with larger numbers. So he can just keep his air ball or his air group on high numbers and just keep forcing Raider to have to reset and reset. And even if it's not a lot of damage, it is still free damage he keeps getting on these land units.
Yeah, and this slight damage can totally make the difference in these very even engagements.
Oh yeah, it adds up. Good fight on the right-hand side for Bully. He's got his commander out in front. He's got units up behind. This is a
Raiders
really good trade for him as well.
just throwing units away. We're seeing nice D-guns coming out. Bully gets
And there's a
free
second
recon
PD
field.
too for Raider on the bottom right.
I kind of like this. It's very defensive, but, you know, this is pretty vulnerable.
Actually, a lot of PD up for Raider. He's got another one out on the far left. I'd expect to see some... Oh yeah, here we have T2 land coming out for Raider. Which I
Yeah.
guess is what he was buying time for, so this could be pretty strong. Ilshis are a really good unit.
Assuming he doesn't get completely crushed on the right side and the left side while this
So
is
these
happening.
PD that I was bad-mouthing are actually going to come in clutch, which shows what I know.
Yeah, they're forcing the army to avoid them. Although this one might get run in on. Or
And there's
not.
another PD all the way in the back too.
Very defensive. Invader's just gonna send a bomber.
The bomber's going to be really good. I don't see any AA here for that.
If it can hit its targets. But actually the PD is kind of melting. The walls are not blocking any of these shots and it just dies. So,
It does die, but it does a good amount of damage beforehand. There is going to be a lot of mass left behind from this attack at the very least. These units are on a one-way trip. Raider is counter-pushing on the top left, which is a good idea. And he's got some Ilshis coming out into the middle. He should start getting those into the fight soon, which will be quite strong.
yeah, the bomber and the PDs should clean this all up. Pretty nice and sensible.
Yeah, 3 mass extractors down for this long. This will be about 2 minutes of not having these mass extractors. Is a pretty strong raid, but it does leave a lot of mass behind that if Raider wants to reclaim, he can. So, I'm not sure how that quite breaks out. I think it depends on how quickly Raider picks that expansion back up.
Yeah, the question here is, what do you do if you're Raider? You've got T2, you kind of don't have the best map control, but you got some map control. I guess you
It's
just try
enough
to
map control.
push onto the commander here?
No, I actually think that, I mean, he's invested into PD, he has reclaim on his side of the map, he has T2 land, he has a T2 P-gen. I honestly think that he just sits tight for a couple minutes, gets out of T2 mechs, gets up his T2 production, and then slowly pushes out. He's not going to be doing any major damage right now with the army he has, so I think he needs to play a little passive just for a minute or two. A lot of the fighting has been on his side of the map, so if he can reset, he should be able to get some good reclaim off of this.
Yeah, that's for sure. We got nice activity from these fighters. They're just killing a T1 PD by themselves down in the bottom right.
Yeah, these fighters are getting really good use.
They're actually running
all
out
game-
of fuel.
Yes, but all game Bully has been using these fighters amazingly for both controlling air, and he's just been getting free damage left and right with all of these. You can see some of the vet that some of these have, like 300 vet, 200 vet, 100 vet.
Alright, he actually needs to build air staging to refuel his T1 interceptors. It's
And
that
we see
bad.
T2 land out from Bully, a T2 vehicle development plant.
Yeah, we already
Those
have
tanks look...
T2 P-Gen out from Raider, and just looks like Ulshis from now.
Yeah, Ilshis I think are going to be strong. I'm not familiar with the T2 heavy assault tank, the Reapers, but they look like they have a fair deal of HP on them, and they look a little nasty.
It looks like Raider's ACU is actually coming around to Bully's position, and we might see a bit of a trap being set here, as the Ulshis are sort of closing off the retreat on this left side, as the ACU
That is a lot of Ilshis.
It's a scary amount of Ulshis, plus commander.
And there's a flak, too.
Yeah, and we've got this force on the right, which should perhaps prevent escape on this side, but there are a lot of Reapers here. Does Raider have OC? He does not, and that's going to be a huge problem in about 2 seconds.
I think it's going to make a difference. I think the ACU can just get shift G'd and focus down. It only has 10,000 HP, and Ilshis do a ton of damage.
It is made of paper. I'll give you that.
And there's the right click. We'll see if it pays off. This is a bit of a gamble. If the ACU doesn't die, he will lose his army. But it is melting.
Just absolutely melted. The Reapers aren't doing anything really to defend, and Raider survives.
And I lose my 200 mass bucks.
Yeah. So you get for betting against a Raider.
I wasn't betting against Raider. I was playing the odds.